Welcome back to Ideagen TV's guest-hosted series with Gretchen O'Hara. Gretchen, welcome back.
Thank you, George. So excited to be here today.
You know, what an incredible show. You know, we just completed the Ideagen Future Global Leaders Academy. We interviewed the first session selected participants that were recognized. We're about to recognize the second cohort. Super exciting. What were your perspectives from the first part?
You know, George, I will tell you, incredible individuals, incredible young women that came on the last panel. I would say my biggest takeaway really was the advice and the thinking that they brought to the table on how we can all get after the SDG goals together, and having that insight into thinking about long-term thinking about risk-taking, thinking about innovation and leadership and what that takes. These are all things that are natural lessons for all of us, and to hear this from a collective group of high school students was just absolutely inspiring. Didn't you think, George?
Incredibly inspiring, and yeah. You know, the ability for these students to truly believe that they can change the world because they can is really accomplishing what the goal was, right? To be utilizing design thinking strategies juxtaposed upon the Sustainable Development Goals. I mean, it's incredibly powerful to think that one person can do that.
No question. And I think the other thing that's interesting, and we'll hear this from our next set of panels, is the collective group that comes across all backgrounds and geographies to come together with different experiences to focus on these things. And every individual has an incredible opportunity to give their insight and background and apply their thought leadership into this together. And that's really exciting to see as well from the Academy work.
Well, and by the way, you were an instructor as part of the
I was
Future Global Leaders Academy. So a lot of the inspiration and a lot of the techniques, insights, and perspectives came from your presentation that now empowered and inspired these students. And I want to also take a moment to introduce Cooper Henderson from Ideagen. Welcome, Cooper.
Glad to be back.
Well, it's great. Cooper was one of the instructors as well for the Ideagen Future Global Leaders Academy, and will be introducing the second group that will be recognized today.
Correct. I had the privilege of working with these 4 young ladies over the course of 2 weeks. The last group was amazing and insightful, and I'm really excited to hear what this next group has to say about their goal, clean water and sanitation. I'd like to welcome Skylar, Allie, Nia, and Alyssa. Thanks for joining us.
Great to be here.
Welcome, everybody. We're so excited to have you on for this interview, for you to really share your thinking and approach to the SDGs to our global audience today. And we get to hear from all of you. So welcome again. Congratulations on your hack. As Cooper mentioned, for the audience, this is really addressing the Sustainable Development Goal number 6, clean water and sanitation. And from my understanding and watching some of the video on this solution includes nanofibers, cloths that extract condensation from the air to create potable water. And the other half of the solution, if I get this right, and we'll dig into this a little bit more, really is focused on the desalination machines and employing them in really strategic areas across the globe. And being able to see this combination then of both clean water and sanitation into the areas that need this most is incredible work. And so I'm so excited, Nia, Skylar, Allie, Lisa, for you guys to join today to really share with us all here your accomplishments. So you ready to jump in?
Yes.
All right. Okay. This will be fun. Trust me, this will be fun. So maybe just setting the stage for our audience here today, maybe just quickly tell a little bit about yourself and your role and responsibility in the group. And maybe we'll just start at the top with Skylar and just go all the way down.
Okay. So hi, I'm Skylar Palestine. I'm 16 years old and I'm from Los Angeles, California. When the school year starts, I'll be going into 11th grade. And I am on the secretariat of my school's M1 team, which is what got me into the SDGs in the first place. I My role in the project included writing some of the scripts, mostly my own, and making the slides for my part of the presentation, which was the explanation of our solution.
Great. Thank you. Allie.
Hi, I'm Allie Cooper. I'm from Westchester, New York. I'm 14, and I'm going to be a sophomore when the school year starts. I like to consider myself a young activist, and I also like to bake, play tennis, and sing.
Fantastic.
So my role in the project was mostly focusing on financial aspects and partnerships. So I focused on trying to figure out how much this would cost and where we would find funding, and what companies we could partner with to help us to kind of work together and support our solution.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mia Godar, and I am 15, and I live in Los Angeles, California. I will be a sophomore as when the school year starts. And my role in our project was basically giving an introduction and leading people into our actual project and explaining what SDG goal number 6 was and what targets we'd be mainly focusing on in achieving.
Fantastic. Lisa.
Hi, I'm Elisa Santos. I'm 18 years old from the Philippines, and this coming school year, I'm going to be entering college. And I'm really interested in like business-related things. So my role for this project was that I was the one in charge of the design thinking process, as well as one of the countries in which we plan to implement the solution.
Fantastic. Well, what a great group of women and individuals from all parts of the geography. So really, really incredible here. So as future global leaders, how do you think is the best approach to get youth involved in the UN's SDGs?
So first of all, I think it's really important to educate people what the SDGs exist and specifically what they are. So before doing MUN, I really had no clue what the SDGs were and how people my age and people around the world could work to solve them. So I think the first step is getting people to understand what they are and that they exist.
Right. Absolutely. And that applies to more than just youth, for sure. So really good point. Anyone else in terms of how to get more youth involved?
So I think that an important way to get the youth involved is through schools, because schools is really the main way that youth is connected. So through optional classes and clubs like after school, I think are like the main ways that we need to get the youth involved in finding a solution and really helping out the world in the goals.
Great idea. Any last thoughts?
I also believe,
Go ahead.
for the youth to be involved, it's also important for them to be involved in social media as well. Because right now we're exposed to a lot of information online given this pandemic. So yeah.
Really, really good point. I mean, going into traditional schools, making sure awareness is there, using the platforms that we have available, all really important, I think, for us to rally behind. And I think great feedback for our audience as we think about more engagement and getting more youth coming through here for sure. What do you think is the biggest inhibitor to reaching the SDG, either the one that you focused on for your hack or just in general as you learn more about the UN's SDG initiative?
For us, we realized that people just naturally tend to be a little selfish, and it creates a bigger problem because they don't look outside of a bubble they surround themselves in. And you need to be able to educate yourself before you can really make any progress in the right direction to achieving the targets and goals.
Really, really well said. Any other thoughts on inhibitors to reach the SDGs?
So I think that it's also really difficult for people to see the SDGs as something that they can impact, because it seems like such a broad topic, and a lot of people think that there has to be one solution that can fix a single goal, but really one solution can make a big difference without, many solutions have to work together in order to solve a goal, and it can't just be one big thing, and it's really hard for people to break it down into parts in their mind, I think.
Yeah, Really, really good point. So you went through the academy, and you talked a little bit about some of the challenges and blockers that we faced. How did design thinking lesson? How did that help you formulate your potential solution?
The design thinking process helped us in a way because it gave us like a sort of process in which we have to solve for, and look for the solution. Because first in the design thinking process, it helped us in terms of having and showing perspective with like the people involved in the problem as well. And by knowing which creative ways and alternative solutions can be done in order to have an effective impact and solution to solve the problem.
Really, really helpful. And any other thoughts on the design thinking approach? Did it help on your solution hack?
It did, because we needed to consider how we had to use other companies and how the people who were going to be using our solution, how it was going to impact them and how it would work in different areas.
That's excellent. You know, one of the things, going back to the beginning of your solution, you know, really showcased the power of innovation in your hack, and just really, really interesting in terms of that coming together with sort of the leadership and broad thinking in your approach. How did you incorporate innovation into your work? How did that come to be?
Innovation was really important in our solution because we really combined a bunch of existing technology, as long as some very new technology like solar-powered desalination machines and nanofiber cloths. We incorporated them into our solution, where they're like the vital factors that we need in order to purify the water and get it out to the people. So our solution was a transportation system, but that would be impossible without the technology and innovation that already existed.
Yeah. Incredible thinking. Any other last thoughts on that? I think very, very well said. You know, one of the things I talked about in my course, and I know across the academy, was the importance of this cross-sector collaboration, private and public partnerships, the need to bring various groups together to really solve these challenges. And so, as you think about the cross-sector collaboration and innovation that we just talked about with the audience, which is so vital, how do you think these things have come together to really help address solving the world's most vexing issues?
So you need the opinion and viewpoints from everyone from different areas in the industries, and they all have different ideas on how to come up with a solution. So when you combine all of those, you have a much stronger idea to create solutions. And for us, we would meet outside of our class time in meetings to make sure that our work was at the best point it could be at when we presented.
That's incredible. You know, what you're highlighting in a way, yeah, so important, is the diversity of thought, and how diversity is so important when you're thinking about addressing challenges and problems, and making sure that we have and continue to have, quite frankly, diversity of thought. And then you brought up, you know, collaboration, and you think about inclusiveness and how you all come together and solving that collaboration. Tell me a little bit more and share with the audience how you came together to work on this. Like, how did the collaboration work specifically with you on this team?
We split the work up. So I would start off, we like delegated the work. So I would do one part, Ali would do another, Alyssa, and so forth. So I would focus on the introduction. And by meeting outside of the class time, we needed more time than was given to be at the best we could be.
Yeah, the four of us split up the work and we all worked really well together. We used time outside of our classes to make sure that our work was the best that it could be. And the four of us got pretty close over that time because we got to learn so much about each other and how we think.
Incredible. Incredible. And Alyssa?
I feel like what made it interesting is that we all had different kinds of ideas, and because of that, we integrated all our ideas in order to form this solution, which showed how unique it was because we integrated the existing solutions that we have right now. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've demonstrated that incredible magic of diversity of thought and inclusion and collaboration of how you work together. And I think the more that you can bring that into, your daily activities and spreading the work on how we accomplish our SDG goals is going to be incredible. And that goes on to leadership. And all of you clearly wouldn't be here if you did not have a strong sort of leadership bent into what you're doing. So as a future global leader, what would be the leadership insights that you found most important in this work in the academy that would really help achieve the global goals by 2030? I'm like stumping you.
Yeah, from in this program, what I realized is it's important to be an open-minded leader and someone who's empathetic, because for people to follow you, you must understand where they're coming from and their problems and what they're experiencing, for them to be able to follow the lessons that you teach them and what you want to implement for them to follow as well. So yeah.
Fantastic. Empathy is such a critical one we're practicing at Microsoft every day as leaders. Any other leadership qualities that you found useful to help?
Yeah, so I think that it was really important that we were all like really strong voices, and we were all leaders, because the way that like we all had very equal passions to making a solution. So I think that the fact that we were all really passionate and that we all wanted to get a solution really helped us to make such a great solution in such a little amount of time. So like, if we were working together with one person who was really in charge, I feel like it wouldn't have worked out as well, since we were all leaders instead of having one kind of delegated person who was like leading us. So I think that leadership is really important, that you work with people who are equally as passionate about you, and who, there isn't just going to be one leader if you want to have a successful solution.
Absolutely. Very, very well said. Any last thoughts on leadership from lessons learned?
So to add on to what Ali said about there not being one leader for our group and for the four of us all working together, we were also really good at being able to compromise with each other, which is something that I think is really important quality in a leader, because we were able to take everybody's ideas and combine them and make them work into one, rather than saying no up front or saying yes up front.
Very well said. I mean, really incredible insight around empathy, empowerment, growth mindset, the opportunity, to say yes, not no. How can you? Your point that there isn't one leader, that collaboration becomes absolutely critical from leadership. All of these things. Thank you for sharing with our audience. Thank you for being able to see sort of those opportunities and things that we continue to practice, quite frankly, every day as leaders in the industry, as we address these big global challenges. And we need all of that, coming to the table. And so, thinking about the Sustainable Development Goals, and what would you wish more young people across the planet were aware of?
I think, first of all, the existence of the SDG goals, but more than that, the idea that one person genuinely can make a difference. So I think what stops a lot of people from taking action is the belief that they're not enough for their impact to be significant, but it's not true. So I think that's something that a lot of people need to hear.
Very well said.
And I also think that people see the one big goal and they're like, how can you possibly completely end world hunger in 10 years? And what they don't realize is that there's multiple smaller targets and smaller parts to each goal. And by achieving each goal at a time, you're going towards a bigger picture and helping in general.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. You bring up such a good point. And I would say not just the youth addressing this area, but adults and companies and industry, is sometimes the goal seems so unattainable or so big. I don't know how to get started, or if I get started, it's not going to make a difference. And for everyone in the audience today, and why we're all here listening and supporting the great work that you're doing, is that everybody makes a difference. Every sort of voice counts, and everything that you do will accrue to something bigger. And so it's really well said on the importance of just making sure that young people everywhere know, through education, through social media that you talked about, just a general awareness, because everyone can do their part, incorporated into clubs, into the academic curriculum. These are all things that can ground all of us to really harness the power of the next generation to get after these goals and to get accomplishment of it, and quite frankly, the time that we have left to do it, because they're big and they're bold. But with minds such as yourselves, there's something that we can really harness everyone to get after them. So I really appreciate you all coming on to share with our audience today. Congratulations on the hack and your accomplishment at the Academy. Spread the word of what you've learned and how everyone can get involved. It's really incredible, I would say, to see what you've come up with from a solution perspective around clean water and sanitation, what you've been able to do in terms of collaboration, and quite frankly, how you're learning to work together as leaders to go accomplish these big goals that we have to get after. So thank you all for your time today, and really appreciate your ongoing support and commitment for the UN 2030 agenda.